It's February and I haven't flown much in the past few months, either because of weather, cold, or other obligations. But today, we're making a flight from the Atlanta area to Oxford, Mississippi. Sometimes we drive that route, and it's a 6-hour ordeal. So today, we're going to fly there in just over 2 hours. We have a new granddaughter, just over 1 month old now, and the purpose of this trip is to drop Gail off there for a few days to visit. The plane is pre-flighted and ready to be loaded. Gail is traveling light with 3 bags and a gift bag. We use soft cloth luggage because it's so much easier to get into the baggage area. She's traveling with about 35 pounds of stuff, well below the 75-pound capacity of the RV-12. 3 quick gratuitous shots. Gail's all strapped in. Now both of us are seated. And finally, me watching a Skyhawk on final while we wait for takeoff. We climb out to 2,500 feet, just 1,000 feet AGL. Normally, I wouldn't want to make a cross-country flight so low, but the winds at altitude are strong, over a 25-knot headwind. But it is quite bumpy down low. We're going to have to endure the turbulence in order to make some good speed across the ground. I'm trying real hard to hold the camera steady. So on the western edge of Georgia, there's these 2 formations in the foothills that look to me like the spines of whales when you fly over. It may be hard to make it out in a picture, but in real time as you fly over, you can kind of visualize a large whale breaching the surface and their backbone rising up like these long and narrow hills do. So here we are again, just kind of enduring the bumps as we fly along. We've taken this same route many times now, so the scenery is really not new to us anymore. Gail takes some aerial shots anyway, since this is the lowest altitude she's flown over. As we arrive at Oxford, Mississippi, this water tower is pretty distinctive. Looks sort of like a circus. Gail is happy now, realizing that she's just minutes away from seeing our new granddaughter again. Landing at KUOX, there's quite a crosswind requiring a steep crab angle on final. And as we get lower, the winds are stronger and cause more of a drift, and I have to compensate for that. Still, we survived the landing, I dropped Gail off, and headed back home. So if we had a headwind flying west, we should have a tailwind headed east, right? I climbed up to 5,500 feet to take advantage of the stronger winds. Hey, wait a minute here. That's not a tailwind. That's an 18-knot crosswind. And even this high, it's still pretty darn bumpy. The reason I keep talking about it being bumpy is that I have something funny to show you. Clearly, I've been sitting all day, but my Apple Watch interpreted the movements as exercise, and I closed all my rings today. If you look at the time of day the activity happened, well, it was all during this flight. So Gail had a good time babysitting and being the grandmother. And for me, instead of this trip being 12 hours on the road, it was a 4-hour round-robin flight in our little RV-12. So now it's March the 3rd, and I thought it'd probably be a good idea to bring my wife back home. Again, it's basically a straight shot there, and 4Flight predicts a 2.5-hour flight with some headwinds. I take her up to 6,500 feet for the flight west, and sure enough, we have a 13-knot headwind. But unlike the prior flight, today the ride is smooth as silk. At altitude, it's 42 degrees out. It gets a little chilly, so I put on some partial cabin heat. At the halfway point, I pass just south of the Huntsville airport. At the terminal in Oxford, I check out the tribute to their homeboy William Faulkner. On the ramp outside, my little plane sits in a row with other transients. The flight back home was uneventful and closes out this episode. I hope you found our little travelogue interesting, and we'll come back again to see where we go next. Until then, fly safe, and we'll see you again soon.